I guess I can say I made it because this was what I wanted. I would say 2,000 applications in my life. I have footage of literally me crying about job hunting. I can finally say that I landed my dream job in Japan. And it was not an easy journey. I wanted to document it on social media, definitely not brave enough like other people who have documented their like moving to Japan or job hunting, but I was so far too depressed to do that, and ashamed of course, because I had been job hunting for so long just to get my first full-time job. Anyways, welcome to my channel. My name is Ebi. I've been living in Japan for 3 years now, and I haven't updated YouTube at all. Pretty much my last video that was like this, I was still in my job hunting phase, and that was like a year ago. So I want to use this video to talk about my timeline of moving to Japan, the job hunting phase. Hopefully I can give some advice because I know a lot of people ask me about that, my visa and everything about that, what job I have now, of course, and then I'll answer any questions that I often get about job hunting, all that stuff in Japan. So the timeline. I have been living in Japan for 3 years now. 2022 July is when I moved, and I first moved here as a language student because I knew that was the fastest way to get a visa. Basically, you just have to be able to afford it. So you need to have proof you have like a certain amount of money in your bank account, and then the school will pretty much accept you. So at the time for me, I had like 2 years during COVID. I was living at home. I didn't really buy anything. So with my part-time jobs, I was saving up, and I didn't know it was going to be for moving to Japan, but I'm glad that everything worked out. Yeah, I did language school for 1.5 years. During language school, my main goal was to get JLPT N2, because if you want a job in Japan, pretty much any field unless it's IT or like coding, software engineering, so there are some exceptions, but you basically need to be able to speak Japanese. Not that I can speak Japanese fluently, but the certification that they will use to test you is the Japanese language proficiency test, and N2 is like business level, so I needed to get that. That was my main goal in language school. As much as I prefer to be able to speak Japanese, the goal was the certificate. So during that 1.5 years, I studied, I passed the test. I've already posted about that, and that video is pretty good because when I look back, I was like, yeah, very useful. I'm glad I made that video while I was at the peak of my knowledge. During that time, I was also job hunting and trying to grow my social media. So there was a lot going on. I'm so glad that is over. So after about 1.5 years of language school, I pretty much quit because 1, I already got the JLPT, and 2, I could not stand going to school every day for 3 hours. I know it's only 3 hours compared to a full-time job, but my mindset was at an all-time low. Like I had been studying, job hunting this whole time for 1.5 years and not really getting results, and I was running out of funds. So can you imagine how stressful that is? But luckily this new visa came out called the J-Find visa. It's basically a visa for like top performers to find a job in Japan, and there are a few requirements to it. It's for people who graduated from a top university within the last 5 years. I think that's pretty much it. At the time, it just came out and I was eligible for it because I graduated from University of Sydney, which happens to be a top 100 uni, thank goodness. And I think a lot of Australian universities count as that, so you should check even if you think your uni isn't in it. What you have to do is report what you're job hunting. So either you are job hunting or doing activities to start a business or something like that. I worked with a lawyer for that because it was such a brand new visa. There was not much information on it as well. Yeah, highly recommend that. Not life or death, but you know, it is a serious thing that I'm glad that I had help with. After 1.5 years, I moved on to the J-Find visa, and that you can get it for 1 year and then you're able to renew it again for another year. So in my peace of mind, I basically had 2 years left in Japan to find a job. 2 years sounds like a lot, right? And I was so sick of job hunting that I didn't feel like it was going anywhere, and so I wanted to try something else, which was to pursue content creation. So for about 9 months, I was like, all right, 2024, this is the year I'm gonna go for content creation. I focused on growing my Instagram, I was posting on YouTube as well, TikTok as well. Life was finally being okay. I wasn't earning much, I was earning enough to stay afloat plus the remaining of my savings. But the way that I was job hunting was basically LinkedIn. I used every website, by the way. So Career Cross, which is more for Japanese jobs. I did check Gaijin Pop, but I don't know if I recommend it. At the end of the day, the one that worked for me was using a recruiter. So I signed up to quite a few recruiters. Robert Walters is the one that helps me. If you are job hunting in Japan, I would say sign up with all the recruiters. It wasn't even networking because the person that helped me I didn't even know them until after this whole thing happened. During the 9 months of content creation, I was kind of job hunting here and there only if I saw a position that I really wanted. So it wasn't like every day I gotta apply to 10, 20 jobs, which is what I was doing previously. Not good for my mindset. Even during language school, actually, I took a job hunting course for Japanese companies, but because it was for Japanese companies, it was so completely different. Like, you have to make a Japanese resume, and then it's so different to an English resume. Like, all of the qualifications and the way you write everything, with the measurements and the layout and everything is so different. Oh, I couldn't stand it. I even interviewed at a Japanese company once and it was just so horrible. When they saw what I was asking for my salary, which was already low at the time, I was asking for 4 million. They were like, nope, it's too much. We can end the interview now, but if you have any questions, ask away. And then I asked some questions, but he was giving me such attitude. I was like, you can just let me go. I don't know why I was even called into the office, because technically, like, you can see what I was asking for in my application. Like, what a waste of my time and the boss's time and the interviewer's time. But anyway, that'll be something I remember forever. My interview with a real legit Japanese company. Anyways, it's now 2024 September. I get this email from a recruiter, from Robert Walters, about this job, and it sounded pretty cool. So I was like, yeah, why not? I'm gonna apply. And this happened to be the time that I was traveling back to Australia. This whole time, I had like held off on any international travel or even going back to Australia because I was serious about getting a job, right? I don't have extra time or money to be traveling, or, you know, this is a luxury. But at this moment in time, I was like, could say it's a gap year, but it was like I'm going to pursue content creation year, so I will allow myself to go to Australia. And that is when everything happened. I did my interviews. I even did an interview online and it happened so fast. It is a content creation job, so I still am technically a full-time content creator, but basically I work as a content creator for an agency as my day job. And then in my free time, of course, I still do my own content creation. So yeah, I am doing content 24/7. Yeah, I'm super grateful. The reason why it is my dream job is because that's the kind of job that I was looking for in Australia before I gave up and moved to Japan. Those kind of jobs kind of don't really exist in my hometown. I'm from Perth, Western Australia. As much as I tried, it wasn't really what I liked. But what I do now is pretty cool. Like, we're making social media videos for Japanese clients and I don't have to do as much in Japanese, so my job is pretty much in English, which is another reason why my Nihongo is not improving, unfortunately, but I'm still studying in my own time. Oh, of course, the visa. So, most normal people, the visa that I was trying to get was the typical working visa. It would have been in like humanities to be a content creator, I guess. Luckily, I found out about this other visa called the highly skilled professional visa. I happened to be able to qualify for it. So basically this visa, there's two types of it. One, you get 70 points and one, you get 80 points. And there's a point system where if you have these certain qualifications, you'll get these points. And as long as you get 70 points, you can get the visa. And then if you get 80 points, then you get like a special version of this visa. This highly skilled professional visa, it only comes in 5 years. So since that is the visa that I'm on now, I get to stay in Japan for 5 years automatically, which is so crazy, so amazing. Because pretty much everyone that gets their first working visa, it's kind of random, I think. I've heard most people get 1 year and then they'll go again next year, get 1 year, 1 year, 1 year until their 5th year, and then suddenly they'll get 3 years. But it's kind of random. Some people can get 3 years or even 5 years on their first try. But the cool thing about my visa is it only comes in 5 years. So for me, it was more like, will I get accepted or not? Because I didn't know if my points qualified until they gave me the visa. So what are the points in? There's lots of different categories and I don't really want to dox all my personal information, but some of the ways that I got points was my Japanese language ability, higher education, being young, I don't know, ages. I think I got extra points for graduating from a top university, things like that. Oh, and salary as well. There may be some other things, but if, for example, you own a patent, then you get points for that. There's lots of different ways. Or like if you graduated in Japan, you get points for that. Basically, if you're interested, you should Google it because they'll have all the information there. Luckily for me, when I applied, I already had everything. So yeah, I didn't have to do anything. I know that sounds super coincidental, but if I think about it, the reason why I moved to Japan is because I had all these things that were like leading to Japan, if that makes sense. I don't have like this one kikkake of why I moved to Japan. That's why whenever people ask me this, and that's why I've never done a video on it, is I don't really have one answer. Basically, all these things in my life were there that just were like, why are you not living in Japan? That is my story. That is my job. I am working full-time in Tokyo now. I guess I can say I made it because this was what I wanted, like from the beginning. My whole like life identity crisis was basically from the fact that I graduated university and from a top university and from a pretty cool degree. Everyone else in my cohort had really cool jobs and they were all around the world doing really cool things. And there I was, stuck at home during COVID, couldn't get a full-time job. Everything I got was a part-time job or like a startup thing, and I was pursuing content creation via Twitch streaming. So I was playing video games all day and all my peers were like getting promoted already, and I was like really struggling with that. I would say 2,000 applications in my lifetime, I would say. Yeah, that's crazy. I know it's rough if you're job hunting. My advice is definitely like you just have to not give up, because you can be grinding for 3 years, like me job hunting for 3 years. All it takes is that one, and that one, like if you're as picky as me, that's one of the reasons I couldn't get a job, is I was picky. It will be worth the wait. Like if only I could tell my previous self how good life can get. Like, oh, I'm so grateful. I have footage of literally me crying about job hunting and journal entries saying like I'm so depressed, I do not want to be here. Like I wish that one day I can read back on this and smile because it got better, and this is the me now. And that being said, it's still just the beginning, right? This is just my first job. I feel like I just moved into Japan. I'm still in the same one-room apartment, so I still feel like humble beginnings, but yeah, I'm excited. I guess the last part is I haven't done the Q&A section because a lot of people have been asking me for job hunting advice. Okay, well, I feel like I've already answered most of these questions throughout the video. Like, do I need to speak Japanese? Of course, the more Japanese you can speak, the better. And you can even get a job without the JLPT N2, but it definitely helps. Because some jobs will screen you according to your resume. If you don't say that you have JLPT N2, maybe you automatically don't get through. Of course, having connections is better, but if I could get a job without connections, then you can too. Where did I apply for jobs? As I said, LinkedIn. I did all of the websites. The one website that I would now give as a recommendation, I think Tokyo Cheapo. They put job listings on their website, but Tokyo Creative, not Tokyo Creative the YouTube channel, but Tokyo Creative, I'll link it down below. They have jobs for in the creative field, so that's cool too. I'm always on the lookout for my friends because I'm like, you guys can do this. Can I job hunt from overseas? Yes, you can. I tried doing that from before I moved to Japan, but it was not successful. Most of the time, they want someone that's already in Japan because it just makes things a lot easier. Unless you are from overseas and you are a Japanese citizen and already have a visa, then that's probably an exception. But even then, they definitely prefer you to be in Japan. And that is exactly why I moved as a language student first. That was strategic. I guess advice for mentally, like when you're job hunting and it's like actually the most depressing part of life. Fingers crossed that nothing worse happens. But yeah, my identity was just like, not shattered. Like I'd never had a job before, but you just have to trust yourself and, well, trust God, because all these rejections that happened to me at the time, I cried, like, why did this happen to me? But now looking back, it's like I'm at the right place, got the right job. So every rejection I am now grateful for. Of course, it's easier to say looking back. So when you're going through it, you just have to persevere. Oh my gosh, I have some horror stories of when I was job hunting. Like once, I got ghosted by this massive company and it felt like I had it in the bag. I stalked this company and the person that was supposed to interview me was like quite high up in the company. I like did my LinkedIn stalking and everything and stalked them on Instagram, and they were like around the world for some World Cup or something, and they ghosted me like 2 minutes before my interview. I had already done all my makeup and because with Japanese interviews, you can't just wear whatever you want, okay? Yeah, I had to wear a suit, did my hair up, did makeup, had to have fully white background, and everything was so prepared. I had all my questions lined up, and yeah, when they ghosted me, I like full on cried. Like, why? I was so close to, well, it felt like I was so close to getting that job, and I was like mourning that specific job for like 2 months. But yeah, I'm really glad that everything worked out. I should check them out and see what they're doing, but no, that's like when you're stalking an ex. But anyway, I hope this video was useful. and hopefully inspiring, because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm so revolutionary, nobody's done this before, but I haven't seen someone online talking about getting this visa, and as a content creator as well. Like most people on the high school professional visa, they are in IT or like engineering. According to ChatGPT, there's not that many people on it from Australia, and also not that many people on it in a creative field. If I can achieve something that I haven't seen anywhere else done before, like anything is possible, right? That's so crazy. So yeah, all you gotta do is just keep pushing forward and be a little bit delusional. Anyways, leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I'm gonna answer all of them. I answer everything on my long form videos because I don't get that many comments. So yeah, check me out on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok. Thanks for watching, and I hope you stick for my future Japan videos. Bye!